Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I decided to use Shadow Alolan Sandslash and Mantine as a core in the Fossil Cup. I think they're two very strong Pokemon, and they are also pretty good at core breaking teams. I saw a lot of Pokemon weak to the A-Slash yesterday, and I thought maybe it would have play today, and I know what you're saying. You see that third Pokemon, you're like, Axon, you're using Quagsire again. Let me tell you though, this is not the Shadow Quag, this is the regular Quagsire, and that moveset is completely different. Instead of Aqua Tail, we are running Mud Bomb. Trust me, it's basically a different Pokemon. Please, let me have this. But no, seriously, the main reason I am running that Quagsire is I saw so many Lanturns, Registeels, Magnezones, just so many Pokemon weak to ground in general yesterday. I thought it would be a great pick, and it really did pop off today. Let's take a look at the battles and see what this team can do. Alright, let's get into game number 1 and see what we can do here with our Shadow Alolan Sandslash in the lead. It's against a Ferrothorn, one of the best leads that we could see here. They stay swap their Shadow Poliwrath, so I come in with my Mantine. I know that Poliwrath is a huge core breaker for both our Shadow Alolan Sandslash and our Quagsire, although Quagsire does have a decent amount of play having Mud Bomb, so it's not really the end of the world, but I would much rather see that here on our Mantine rather than there on our Quagsire. We know two of their Pokemon, as long as their third pick isn't a huge core breaker, which honestly, after this Poliwrath's out of the way, there's not much that could really destroy the Quagsire plus A/slash core, so we'll just have to see. If it is another fighter, that could be a little tricky, but they actually show their third already. It is going to be a Lantern. This is fantastic. We have our ground type for this. We have our ice and steel type for their grass type. I think at this point we are in a great spot. They farm us all the way down, so they do have quite a bit of energy, and they absorb that Water Pulse very easily, which means that Water Pulse is basically useless that we got off there. But Quagsire, it's non-shadow. These Surfs are going to do nothing to us. We survive one, we'd survive almost three at that point too. They come in with their Ferrothorn, and I know as long as we can stay in this matchup, knock out this Ferrothorn, and make it so it's as low as possible, then our Quagsire is going to have a ton of play. We also have Drill Run on our A/Slash here, so if we keep it healthy enough, we can maybe land a Drill Run against that Lantern later on if they happen to come back in, and if our A/Slash is able to knock this out, we are going to be in a great spot. They go for a Power Whip bait, good on them, but honestly, Power Whip and Thunder are very similar energy costs, so even though they do that, it's not really going to give them that much of a lead in this matchup. I also know that A/Slash, especially mine here, is very bulky. It is going to be able to survive at least one Thunder at this range. Probably does about 50% to us here, so even if they do double bait us and land a Thunder, it's not going to be enough to knock out our A/Slash. They go for yet another move. Is it going to be a bait, or are they going to go straight for the Thunder now? They are going to bait us once again here with Power Whip. Good bait by them, but we can almost get this next move. I know I survived this just barely, but enough here to get a move off and to hopefully knock them out. They tried to stay in here, but they realized they're not going to be able to knock me out. GG's, and let's see what is in the next game. Okay, our next opponent here running Shadow Magnezone in the lead. Our Mantine wants nothing to do with this. Our Quagsire obviously is a bit of a better matchup, but the way I like playing this out is since we are running Shadow Claw, we have a lot of fast food pressure against them. They are very much threatened to shield these Ice Punches. I can get a shield first and strip them very low with our Shadow Claw damage. I have another Ice Punch loaded. What are they going to do? I'm going to call that this is a Mirror Shot bait. They do end up throwing Mirror Shot here. That's fantastic. And then they come in with a Steel and Psychic type. That is a Bronzong, not exactly the most common Pokemon in the meta, and it's an ABA Steel team from our opponent so far. Our Quagsire is looking like it's in a great spot against this, but we have to keep in mind Magnezone is still very healthy. It has a move loaded, and this could be a little bit uncomfortable if they can line up their Magnezone into our Mantine in the backline. Our Alolan Sandslash is also very low at this point, so it's not going to be able to tank a lot of moves from anything this game. I need to get the Slash Shield down. I try to go for the double up Mud Bomb there, but we don't quite get it. We actually get Confusion down. That's terrible news for us. I'm going to get as much energy as I can on our Mantine here. Hopefully make it so I can at least Water Pulse or threaten that Magnezone somehow, but now this is not looking as great as it once was. We do have energy left over though on our Alolan Sandslash here, so if we can throw this Water Pulse, make it so we can either draw a shield and combo play them, or just knock them out, we should be in a good spot. We go for the combo play here. I have the Ice Punch loaded. Magnezone is very squishy. This should be enough to knock out here. What is their third Pokemon going to be this game? They come in with it, and it is a Ludicolo in the back, so we are ABA strong against this Pokemon. It's a Pokemon I've seen a lot today for some reason, a lot of Razor Leafers, so very happy I used my Quagsire where I did, and that I have my Mantine here in the backline. I can just go for these Wing Attacks, these Aerial Aces, and chip down this Ludicolo as much as possible to try to knock it out before these Razor Leafs are going to knock me out. We get the next move off. It is easily going to knock them out. GG's to our opponent. Very happy that we did not get RPS'd by a Ludicolo in the back. Alright, our next opponent, what are they going to run? Another Ferrothorn in the lead. A lot of grass types today, it seems. Ludicolo's, Ferrothorns all around. We'll have to see how they want to play this one out. Looks like this time, though, they're actually going to stay in the lead matchup. When they stay in, I'd like to land a Drill Run here, because this puts it close to Mud Bomb range, or maybe Wing Attack plus Aerial range later on. So if they do ever happen to swap out of this, it's not going to be quite as bad for either my Mantine or my Quagsire in the backline. I can no-shield this. I know it's not going to one-shot me. I don't want to use a shield before they do, and if they're staying in here, I know I probably have some play in my backline matchup, and it looks like they come in with a Safe Swap Escavalier earlier, that it's not exactly the safest Pokemon, at least not in my opinion, but I'm thinking it could be Double Fighter. If that's the case and it's like a Poliwrath in the back, then I absolutely need to keep my Mantine alive. If it's anything else, I guess we'll see, but I think Mantine in this game could be absolutely critical to winning us this match. Aerial Ace is going to come through. Are they going to shield? They actually end up letting it go. I know I can shield this. I know it wouldn't knock me out, but I think Mantine is going to have play. I can probably go for aces against that Ferrothorn when it comes back in, or against whatever comes back in the back line. And if it does happen to be like a Glantion in the back, we should be in a good spot just having our own Quagsire to be able to absorb all of the energy. We kind of got a frame drop there. They got a sneak that they probably shouldn't have had, but this is fine. We can throw these Aerial Aces against this Ferrothorn, but now we have to throw two, unfortunately, because of that sneak that they had. This will knock them out. Are they going to shield this, or are they going to let it go? They end up letting it go here, and in the back, this is not looking good. They're ABA grass here this game. ABA weak to Escav. So many people running ABA in this meta, it seems. If I can chip this down and get shields, there's a chance I can Stone Edge this and still knock them out with our Quagsire, though. I go for the Ice Punch. If they no-shield this, we probably do lose this game. If they shield this, we are in a decent spot. They end up letting it go. That's a crazy call. They're hoping right now that I have a Quagsire in the back. That's basically the only thing they could beat. Maybe like a Jellicent as well, but even Jellicent would have fast move pressure. Quagsire is like the one thing that has no fast move pressure here that's going to get Razor Leaf down. I kind of have to shield this move. I have nothing else to shield this game. They go for a Scald, hopefully no debuff. I'm going to go for these Mud Shots as much as I can, but I think at this point they just fast move us down here. Even Mantine's not going to have enough health in the tank to be able to knock this out. I knew that my Mantine would be helpful in the back line, but I didn't realize it was going to be that good. Unfortunately, we did lose to that game. All right, Escavalier in the lead. Not the best lead matchup, but at least they would beat that ABA grass team we just saw. We safe swap here with our Quagsire, and they answer us with, I guess this is another ABA team, ABA fighter. Not what we want to see. This is going to be a power-up punch, though, coming through. That's not the worst-case scenario. I know power-up punch is a bit of a scary move to see a lot of the time, but not when we have a non-shadow Quagsire. We can probably get these two moves, maybe get a shield advantage in this game, and if we can't get the shield advantage, maybe there's a chance we can still win this matchup using our Mantine in the backline, unless it's like a Lantern in the back, which honestly, I guess it could be. They're already so weak to our Mantine, they probably do have an answer to it. They actually get a little bit greedy here. We get the next Mud Bomb off, and even though they will have energy coming out of this matchup, if it's running Icy Wind and Power Up Punch, I might actually be able to just come in with my A-Slash, do one Shadow Claw, and absorb energy there. They're throwing a move. Was this a pup? Was this an Icy Wind? Maybe a Dynamic Punch? It is going to be an Icy Wind. That's going to do nothing to us. We get one Shadow Claw. We get a second one through. So at least we have a little bit of energy. What is their third Pokemon going to be this game? They come in with their Escav. What is it? It is, okay, well, not the worst case scenario here. The Ferrothorn in the back. I know Mantine's not really in a great spot because they probably can bait us with these Power Whips and end up landing a Thunder if they do, but they are down shields. I have shield advantage and energy lead. I think there's a chance Mantine might be able to just two-shield its way through this matchup and make it so I can have almost a full health Mantine as a Pokemon that I can use for that Escavalier in the backline, and if that is the case, maybe there is still play here after all. I also have a decent amount of my A-Slash left over. If I can ever use my A-Slash this game as a way to catch a move or maybe even get to an attack myself, I'm actually kind of close to an Ice Punch at this point, and the Escavalier is not going to be able to knock me out in 3 counters, so if they don't land a Drill Run on me, my A-Slash might be able to knock out that Escavalier in the backline. They end up throwing another move here. Power Whip does come through, and now I'm going to throw this move, or I was going to try to before they get one. I know for sure this is just going to be a Power Whip here. They did not get to the Thunder, and I know even though I'm low, I can get to this move. I know I can probably get to an Ice Punch against this Escav with my Alolan Sandslash, and this might chip them down into a range where that's going to be enough to knock them out. If they don't go for the Drill Run here, I can survive this. If this is just an Ace or an Acid Spray or something, I know I live this move. It's an Aerial Ace. We survive just barely. We have the Ice Punch and a Alolan Sandslash able to take out the Escavalier here. Good games to our opponent. Honestly, one of the worst leads we could see, but somehow barely overcoming that matchup. Shadow Clawing down at Pharaoh and taking the game with Alolan Sandslash. Alright, our next opponent, against Soaptofa, a caster, one of the best players in the world. Let's see what she is running here today. It's going to be the Ferrothorn in the lead, safe swap a Poliwrath, and now we are in a great spot, mainly because I know if I keep switch advantage here, I can keep my Sandslash on that Pharaoh, and now I don't have to worry about a huge core breaker in the backline with this Poliwrath. I also want to make sure, though, that they don't get a ton of energy in the backline with whatever they might have. If I can get my health a little bit lower, that could be good. I'm going to try to farm this all the way down here, have energy to go against that Pharaoh, or maybe just get my health lower in case it is another Lantern in the backline. What is their third Pokemon going to be this game? They throw yet another move. It's going to be a Scald this time. Scald actually does do a little bit more raw damage there, but by going for that Scald, it's actually going to mean I'm not double debuffed. I'm only single debuffed. These Wing Attacks, these Aerial Aces are going to start adding up a little bit more, and now I'm going to try to chip this down as much as possible. I am a little bit concerned here. They might be able to go for a full Bullet Seed down, maybe have 100 energy to go against our own Alolan Sandslash here. If that is the case, that could be a little tricky, but I'm going to try my best here with Mantine, go for as much damage as I can, chip it into a range where now it's in Mud Bomb range, and I see the third Pokemon, it's a Jellicent, and while this isn't exactly the best answer to it with our Quagsire here, I know A-Slash is a huge core breaker for this team. I feel like as long as I land moves, if I get a Mud Bomb, or even just get shields off, I can probably close out this game, close out this backline with our Shadow Alolan Sandslash. We obviously have Shadow Claw for this. We have Drill Run and Ice Punch for that Ferrothorn. And even though Ferro has a lot of moves, my Mantine still is even alive. Maybe I can use it as a catch later on. We have these Mud Bombs. Are they going to let this go or shield it? At this point, yeah, they can't really go down 2 shields here. They have to let that go. And I have yet another Mud Bomb. One of the best things about running this Mud Bomb Quag variant is I don't have to go for baits and nukes to get any damage against this Pokemon, against most water types even. I can go straight for Mud Bomb. I don't have to worry about Aqua Tail and Stone Edge shenanigans. So we do get a lot of consistent damage here. We actually survived that move, and even though they do snipe us down here with a Bullet Seed, I know that I can probably catch a move here with my Mantine, right, when they get the Thunder, and now I think we are in a fantastic spot. I can probably double shield this from them all the way down and have moves loaded against that Jellicent in the backline. They are maybe going to get to another move here, but I'm going to throw a move before they do, just to guarantee a shield. That way, if I do shield and farm them down, I can just throw a move immediately against that Jellicent. They realize at this point there's not much they can do after that catch. GG's to our opponent. Let's see what we have in the next game. It's going to be a Shadow Alolan Sandslash into... Well, that's a huge core breaker. The Macargo in the lead. One of the worst Pokemon here for our A-Slash to see. Safe swap here with our Quagsire, and they are going to have a Ferrothorn in the back. APA weak to Fighting type. I guess they really don't want to see a Poliwrath in the lead, but I guess that's fine. We're going to try our best to chip this down with our Quagsire. Maybe get enough of shields down or an energy lead on our A-Slash where we can Drill Run that Macargo and still be in a decent spot this game. I have to think that there's going to be something in the back that can beat not only Lantern, but Poliwrath, maybe something else that can beat like a Mantine as well. I don't know. There's a lot of things that you have to kind of be worried about with a team like this so far. But yet, I think that might have been a CMP tie, so we might actually get a shield advantage here this game. We get the Mud Bomb through, and we end up, oh, I guess not shield advantage, but at least we get a shield back. And this means we can farm this down, maybe get some drill runs against that Macargo, and try our best here to win the game with our A-Slash sweeping this backline. They throw a move there, they get the farm down. They actually got a really nice undercharge on our Quagsire, so they got a bit of extra energy that I really wouldn't have wanted them to get. I kind of have to shield this, but I also kind of have to let the Skill Thunder is going to put them so low. I don't think I can get to 2 Drill Runs now against this Macargo if it comes back in. I do have Drill Run though, and if it's something like a Poliwrath or something like that in the back, maybe my Mantine can still close out this endgame. I throw this move, I swap to my Mantine. Dude, what the heck is this team? They're triple weak to counter. They're literally triple weak to counter. They have Pharaoh, Magnezone backline with a Macargo lead. This meta is crazy. It's just that I don't know if there's anything else I can say here. It's just a crazy meta. They have 2 wild charges now. They can just dump their energy into us here. Maybe there's a chance they Shadow Claw this down in 1. I can get a Drill Run against that Macargo still. I don't think so, though. They just have the second move. They survive that Shadow Claw. Yeah, I mean, team building in this meta, it's wild. No, that's about all I can say here. All right, let's get into the next match and see what we're going to face here. It's going to be Shadow Alolan Sandslash into a Ludicolo in the lead. Much better than that Macargo lead. Hopefully we can have a bit of play in the backline as well. They come in instantly with a Lucario. We don't have a hard answer to this because most of the time Lucarios here are going to run Thunder Punch. I have to respect that. I probably have to shield. But the thing is, I've already seen 2 Pokemon weak to our Mantine. There's a chance it's just like a Lantern in the back, and if that is the case, then our Quagsire is going to be a good spot in the backline. If it is just going to be a lot of fighters in the backline, then saving shields, or saving health rather, on our Mantine, shielding everything that this Lucario throws should be good for us. I'm going to throw another Aerial Ace here. Are they going to want to shield? They got a nice Power Punch bait against us, the first one, but they let that one go. Who are they going to come in with to try to farm us down at this point? I'm thinking a Lantern would be a smart Pokemon for them to have in the backline, but at this point they just come back in with a Ludicolo. This is very strange to me. It could be a Poliwrath. I'm thinking Poliwrath could be a huge threat to me in the back. If that is the case, I need to bait it out. I need to keep my Mantine alive. Swapping here could be a mistake though. I give him a huge farm down, but I likely will take a shield with this Drill Run, and my Mantine is still around. I can come with my Quagsire, even though Quag isn't necessarily in the best matchup here. It can still get Mud Bombs off. It's going to do a decent amount of damage, and hopefully my Mantine, once I can kind of whittle this thing down, absorb all the energy on Quagsire, is going to be able to not only knock out this Poliwrath, but knock out that Ludicolo in the backline as well. We're going for a Mud Bomb here. Mud Bomb is obviously debuffed after that Icy Wind, but it's still going to put them very low. Mudshot's even doing a decent amount of damage here. I can shield this if I wanted to, but that Ludicolo is getting kind of close to a move. I don't think I really want to let them get the farm down against me here. Maybe Leaf Storm, my Mantine. That seems like a lose condition for me. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to come in, I'm going to farm this down with my Mantine, and throw an Aerial Ace against that Ludicolo when it comes back in. Ludicolo is in now. We have the Aerial Ace. It's going to knock them out pretty easily, but can I get the Wing Attack down against that Poliwrath before they get to another move? We just barely do. Mantine able to just sweep that team. Honestly, triple weak to Mantine, not exactly the smartest team out there, but I mean, this meta, it's crazy. Basically anything can be a team, I guess. Any 3 Pokemon can just be a team in Fossil Cup. Speaking of good leads, so we had a Mantine lead, and they safe swapped a Registeel. This is one of the best case scenarios for a Shadow Alolan Sandslash. We're already core breaking them. We have the Drill Run that we can land, and now Quagsire can easily absorb the energy, build up as much energy as we can here to maybe Stone Edge that Mantine later on, and maybe make it so our A-Slash has a little bit less work to do. Focus Blast obviously does do a lot of damage to us, but I have a lot of energy now. Even though we did take that Focus Blast, we are outside of range where they could really easily wing attack us down. I think I could get to 2 Stone Edges if they try to do that, and if that's the case, we're in a great spot because Stone Edge is going to do so much more damage than anything else either my A-Slash or my Mantine could throw against their own Mantine. So we throw this Stone Edge, they actually let it go. If they don't throw a move here, I get a second one very soon. We get this move off. I could have even gone for a bait because I think this is a guaranteed shield at this point. I think they have to shield this. They end up shielding it. They probably get a wing attack down now. Maybe I can get the Mud Bomb off as like a little parting present here, and we do. So I guess if I would have baited with the Mud Bomb, I could have landed a Stone Edge and maybe taken both shields, but we'll take what we can get here. They do have a lot of energy, but that's totally fine. A-Slash should be in a great spot here to absorb at least one Water Pulse, shield the next, and farm them all the way down. Mantine should have play in the backline, but just in case it is a Pokemon like a Lantern, that is like the main reason that I'd want to shield this here, make it so I still have a little bit of health on A-Slash so I can drill run whatever might be in the back, or if it's a fighter, Mantine should just close out this endgame. It is going to be a fighting type. We have the Shadow Poliwrath locked into our Mantine, and we can take the game there. GG's to our opponent. Next matchup against a Shadow Magnezone lead with our Shadow Alolan Sandslash. We've played against these before. You know the play. Just go straight Ice Punch here. Make it so they have to either shield or let a lot of damage through very early on in this matchup. Ice Punch obviously is not super effective. It is actually resisted, but it's a Shadow Magnezone, right? It would probably still do about 50% of their health, and our Shadow Claws are doing so much more damage than they really should be to anything that's not super effective against, but Magnezone is very squishy. Once again, calling the Mirror Shot bait here. Are they going to swap or are they going to stay in? They end up trying to swap to Ludicolo here, make it so I was going to have to throw a move against that Ludicolo rather than against the Magnezone, but we store energy. We avoid this matchup with our Quagsire, so maybe we can still be in a good spot this game. We get the move through, we have some energy to go against that Magnezone if they come back in, and I know at this point, even if Magnezone does farm us down, I can guarantee that I can get some damage off with our Water Pulse here. What are they going to do? Who are they going to come in with this game? They can come in with Magnezone, but they likely have to shield, but they actually choose to come in with their Poliwrath, maybe trying to catch a Water Pulse here against their Magnezone, but no, I saw it was coming in. I'm just going to go straight Ace. I love that I see this here. I have my Quagsire in the back that at this point, it's just going to be able to close out this matchup super easily. Aerialist is going to come through again. It goes no shielded. Quagsire is just going to come in. Quag easily able to absorb all of the energy that a Magnezone would have and farm them down. GG's to our opponent. Alright, next game against a Lantern lead. This is a good lead, but not exactly the best lead out there. If they're staying in, that likely means they're kind of weak to A-Slash in the backline, so wasting my A-Slash here is a little bit sad, and I also don't really know if shielding my A-Slash is a good play either. There's a lot of fighters in this meta. There's a chance that if I shield my A-Slash, then there's just like a double fighter backline, and that's just a completely wasted shield, but if they shield, I feel like I can as well. So in this matchup, I just kind of like to match shields and see what they want to do. They can also try to catch on this drill run because it's going to be a CMP, but the next drill run is always going to be a move that I reach before them. They end up letting that go. Smart play. I think at this point I kind of have to let this go as well, just in case there is a fighter in the back. I don't want to go down 2 shields. I'd rather just keep switch guaranteed and maybe Ice Punch whatever might come in the backline. If there is a fighter, which it looks like there is, Mantine is going to be able to align itself here, and hopefully we'll have play into the third. Oh, okay, well, this is really awkward now that A-Slash is out of the way. We see that it is a Ferrothorn and a Poliwrath in the backline. Mantine has a lot of work to do this game. With that said, we do have a little bit of an energy lead. If we can properly shield Thunders, maybe there's a chance we have play here, but I think in the one-shield matchup, Pharaoh's actually very comfortable. They can go straight Thunder, and they will be able to outpace us here before we can knock them out. We can get yet another move off here. I think I need a catch to win this game. If I can catch a Thunder, there is a very high chance I can win this. If I don't catch the Thunder, though, if they call the catch, then they can win it. I think at this point, they'll just overfarm to 100 energy here, power whip my Quagsire, and make it so at this point, there's not much I can do. They still have a shield. If I could have got that Mud Bomb off, I could win this game, but obviously, they were perfect on their counts. They take out my Quagsire, and GG's to our opponent. Alright, another good lead here. Shadow Alolan Sandslash into the Registeel. We obviously have Shadow Claw as a very neutral fast attack against this, and we have Drill Run, which is going to do a lot of damage if they happen to let it through. We're going to throw this, see what they want to do. A lot of Reggies like to go for the Zap Cannon in this matchup. It seems like they know that I kind of have to shield a Focus Blast, right? So even though they almost certainly are going to go for a Zap Cannon here, I'm still going to shield it up. If they're staying in this matchup, I feel like my A-Slash is still going to have play. What is going to come in here? It's going to be a Jellicent. Jellicent obviously is not really the best answer here to A-Slash, but I'm going to build up energy, come in with our Mantine. At this point, I know that I have my Quagsire and a loaded A-Slash. I don't really need Switch. I just need to whittle this down to make it so it's not quite as big a threat for a Quagsire in the backline. We get an Air Release off. It's not going to do a lot of damage, but after wing attacks, after the Shadow Claws, there's a chance it could two-shot them. Not quite, it looks like, but I know that we might be able to survive a Shadow Ball. Maybe not from this point. These hexes are adding up a little bit. If we do get knocked out here, I can come back in with my Shadow Alolan Sandslash. I don't think I can quite farm them down before they get to another move, but I can go for the Ice Punch here, farm them down the rest of the way, and that Reggie is not a concern of mine. It's really what is the third Pokemon at this point. It could be a Mantine. I think Mantine-Reggie is a very strong duo. If they come back in with Reggie, it's going to be very interesting to see, and it is Reggie that comes back in. We still have so much energy, though. We got a huge overfarm before swapping out against that Jellicent, and now we have a Drill Run. We can probably get a second one off even before they get their move, because they did go for Zap Cannon, the slightly more expensive move. They don't get their move off. Are they going to shield this, or are they going to let this go? They end up shielding that attack. I honestly, at this point, don't know what they're going to do this game. I guess they don't either. We come up with Quagsire. They top left. I'm thinking Mantine, right? I think Mantine makes a lot of sense. I could Stone Edge that with Quag. Alright, next game against the Lantern lead here, and they instantly swap to their Poliwrath. I'm kind of thinking this is going to be the most obvious double fighter lineup of my life. I need to make sure that I don't give them a huge farm down with that Lantern, because if they farm down my Mantine all the way with Lantern, it's actually going to have quite a bit of play into not only my Alolan Sandslash, but also into my Quagsire. I also know that I need my Quagsire for the other fighter in the backline. If it's an Escavalier or Lucario, no matter what it is, Quagsire would much rather be there than my A-Slash. I'm going to CMP right when they get to double Icy Wind here, make sure they only get one off, and hopefully keep switch advantage in my favor, and make it so that I can swap into my Quagsire, not give that Lantern a huge energy lead. If I swap into my Quagsire instantly, what are they going to be able to do here? I still have a little bit of health here on my Mantine, so I'm going to instantly swap, and they swap at the same time that I do into their Force Palm Lucario. If this is running Power Up Punch, this could get a little bit tricky here, but if this is running the regular moveset of Shadow Ball and Thunder Punch, maybe that's going to be a little bit better for me. They throw after 4, though. I'm thinking that is almost certainly a pup. This could be bad if they can start shilling and farming me all the way down. If they do that, I don't know how I'm going to win this game. I have my Mud Bombs, though. I did get an energy lead coming into this matchup. I think at this point, I can get my Mud Bombs off and make it so I can knock them out before they can fast move me all the way down. Another shield does come up from our opponent. They're going to try to go for a fast move down, but we get to the Mud Bomb at the last second here. This will knock them out for sure, and now I have a shield advantage. I have an energy lead on my A-Slash as well. There is no way this Lantern can take me out. We don't quite get to the move there on our Quagsire, but that's totally fine. A-Slash here can easily survive a move, get to 2 moves ourselves, and we have this shield. I can shield this up and not worry about our A-Slash taking a move at all. Thunderbolt gets shielded up. That's fantastic, because honestly, a Thunderbolt is the only move that could really threaten us at this point. If we take a Surf, we survive that super easily. So a Thunderbolt, I think, was our opponent's win condition. Now we can go for the Ice Punch here, knock out this Lantern very easily. GG's to our opponent against a double fighter backline. I let them farm down my Mantine like they wanted to that game with their Lantern. That game could have been so much worse. So I think playing out that Mantine into Poliwrath matchup that way was absolutely critical to winning that match. Alright, Shadow Alolan Sandslash into the Jellicent lead. It looks like they're staying in this matchup, which is kind of strange. Maybe there's a Steel type in the back, like a Ferrothorn, maybe a Registeel, maybe a Magnezone or a Lantern. If that is the case, our Alolan Sandslash would have play, but I'm expecting at least 1 fighter in the back, maybe 2. If that is the case as well, shielding my A-Slash is not the play. I normally like to try to match shields with my opponents, so if they don't shield, I'm not going to shield. They try to snipe me down with counters. Good play by them. But we have our Mantine here. I can go for these air releases, chip them down as much as possible, and since they do have Thunder Punch, at least they could have Thunder Punch, I'm going to have to respect this, probably shield up my Mantine here, and try our best to farm this all the way down. They're going to throw a move. I'm going to respect it. Is it a pup bait? Is it a Thunder Punch? They actually go for a pup bait. Good bait by them. And now I think I'm going to have to shield twice if I want to get the full farm down here. I feel like there's a chance my Mantine still has play, and even if it doesn't, that probably means my Quagsire is going to have a ton of play itself. They go for the double bait. They must not have even had Thunder Punch. They obviously had enough energy for it, but they didn't go for it, and they come back in with their Jellicent. I guess they're trying to drain energy against me here, make it so I don't have quite as much energy with Mantine, and in comes the Shadow Magnezone. Okay, so now I just kind of want to get some chip damage or guarantee the shield. I know after this move, I can swap to my Quagsire and just instantly win the game that way. We have our Quagsire in the back, go for these Mud Shots, going for the Mud Bombs, and this actually could be a little bit interesting. Do 2 Wild Charges knock out the non-Shadow Quagsire? If it does, this might be a little bit dicey here. I know our A-Slash does have energy on it though, so taking that shield is going to be very nice to see. They get a move. I think they're at back-to-back Wild Charges at this point. If 2 Wild Charges knocks us out, which it looks like it might actually do, this could be awkward if we don't get to a move with our A-Slash. Can we get an Ice Punch off? Is it going to be enough to get to it in time? Let's just find out here. We have our A-Slash. Do we have a move? Eventually, we'll come in with it. And now, Ice Punch does get reached. Ice Punch obviously is going to be more than enough to knock out a -2 Magnezone here. GG's to our opponent. Not exactly the best Pokemon for us to see in the backline. At least that Lucario double baiting us with those pups made it a lot closer than it had to be, but GG's to that nonetheless. Alright, yet another Lantern lead here this game. That's fantastic. Once again, though, I'm going to try to match shields with them. If they shield, I shield. These drill runs will do a lot of damage. It won't quite knock them out or anything, but it will do so much more damage to them that they'd probably want to not take this early on. They do end up shielding. They throw a move right now, and I know for a fact I want to make sure that my A-Slash is not going to be countered down by whatever could be in the back. I'm going to shield that. I'm going to match their shields, and in comes that Poliwrath. If they have 1 fighter, I'm expecting a second one in the backline. They're likely trying to bait out a Mantine here. There's also a chance, though, it could just be like a Grass type in the back. They're trying to get it so my Mantine's not going to have as much play there, too. So I'm going to let this go, and like I did a little bit earlier in this video, I want to make sure that our Mantine doesn't let that Lantern get a huge farm down. I'm likely going to let them get to another Icy Wind here, get as much counter damage as possible, let this go, actually intentionally stop stop tapping once again, and maybe even just giving them switch advantage this game, because I'm not really that worried about that Lantern. If I get an energy lead, I'm in a much better spot. So I'm intentionally letting them knock out my Mantine. I'll get a mud shot lead with our Quagsire and make it so that Lantern has nowhere to go this game. Icy Wind doesn't quite knock us out there. They actually made a nice undercharge. I wanted to farm down their Poliwrath, but instead here, I am just going to swap at the same time as they do to our Quagsire, make it so we can hopefully get an energy lead against their third Pokemon. It really depends on what that third Pokemon is going to be at this point to see how much play we're going to have. I want to overfarm as much as possible. Quagsire's moveset is really hard for most Pokemon in the meta to wall. Even it's like a Ferrothorn or like a Mantine in the back, it's not going to be able to wall either my ground-type damage or my rock-type damage here, so I'm very happy to see this matchup and to overfarm as much as possible. Looks like their final Pokemon is going to be a Ferrothorn, even though, as I said, this is not the best matchup to be in. We have Mud Bomb, we are not running Aqua Tail and Stone Edge, so we actually have a little bit of neutral play into this. I can probably go for another Mud Bomb here. They make a nice play where they wait a turn and then they swap to Poliwrath. I was a little bit distracted there. I guess I didn't watch for the animation, and they make a great catch, but that is fine. I know that my A-Slash is outside of Thunder range here. I can go for the double Ice Punch here and guarantee the win. I go and shield up this first move. It could be a bait, looks like it is, but honestly that bait, as I've also said earlier in the video, doesn't really help them too much here. It's just one less bullet seed of energy they're going to need, and I know for a fact I am outside of Thunder range. My A-Slash is very bulky. We can survive this, hopefully get an Ice Punch off, and make it so we can knock out this Ferrothorn with our A-Slash. We survive that, we get this move off. I could have even reached for a Drill Run at this point, but I know as long as I land this, as long as I guarantee the damage, there is no way we can't just fast move them down with either our Mantine, A-Slash, or Quagsire. They actually knock out my A-Slash with a bullet seed there, but Quagsire is going to get revenge and Mudshot down the grass type. Alright, our next match here, what are we going to see in the lead? It's a Mantine this time. Fantastic lead. Our Quagsire doesn't have to deal with this now, and if they do stay in, I can go for these Ice Punches, hopefully have a lot of neutral play here, and even though we are using our A-Slash here, where it seems like they might be a little bit ABA weak to it, I know that Quagsire plus Mantine is a very strong core in the backline. There are very few Pokemon that could really be very problematic for us, especially if two shields are still in play. We can win the Zero Shield matchup here, even if they have Water Pulse, which it looks like they do. I'm going to CMP on the next attack here, likely going to be an Aerial Ace. They did not quite get to the next move, so even though it is an ace and they did land a Water Pulse, we can survive this move. It's going to put us pretty low though. It's going to make it so it's actually a little bit more of a close matchup than you might expect it to be. Aerial Ace almost knocks us out there, but we do Shadow Claw them down. What is their backline going to be? It's going to be a Ferrothorn, which honestly is a little bit scary, especially up energy, but landing this Ice Punch is very nice for us. It's going to put them way closer into a range where our own Mantine can kind of just shield through this Aerial Ace and Wing Attack it all the way down and hopefully neutralize it so our Quagsire is not going to have to deal with it. It could be a Pokemon in the back weak to Quagsire. We've already seen two very strong answers to it, and their backline Pokemon is a Lantern Quagsire, once again finding that right alignment against this Electric-type Pokemon. Honestly, the main reason why I love this team is both Shadow, Alolan Sandslash, and Quagsire are such hard answers here to this Lantern that it has almost nowhere to go. Even though we do have that one weakness with our Mantine, we are able to overcome it, go for these Mud Bombs, go for the Drill Runs with our Sandslash as well against these Lanterns, and it's honestly not as hard as you might expect to make our Mantine very flexible in the backline. We throw yet another Mud Bomb here right on CMP. Are they going to want to shield this or let it go? They end up shielding. At this point, I know for a fact my Quagsire is not going to want to shield this move, because they have that Ferrothorn around. They could Thunder our Mantine if I end up letting that go, and I can likely get to another Mud Bomb before they can even swap out here, guaranteeing at this point that I can either get the Slash Shield, put them into a Water Pulse range, or make it so I can knock them out with our Quagsire with that move. They end up swapping out, but I see that. I know they're trying to Bullet Seed me down there, but we can swap out. We have so much energy on our Mantine. There is nothing this Pharaoh can do. I can just shield this and be in a good spot. They realize there's nothing they can do. GG's, and let's see what our next matchup is going to have in store. Our next matchup here, Shadow, Alolan Sandslash. Oh man, into the Shadow Feraligatr. That's actually one of the worst core breakers for this team. Even though we have a lot of neutral play with our backline, down energy, it's actually a pretty bad matchup to be in. What I want to do is I want to play out the Zero Shield matchup here, absorb this Hydro Cannon, I know I barely survived, and throw the Drill Run. However, they make a fantastic catch on an Escavalier here. What this means is now I can farm this down though with our Mantine. I intentionally let my A-Slash go down because I know I can farm this down and have my switch clock up, and they won't have theirs because they swapped and I didn't. So if I farm this all the way down, I'll have the option to swap out of this matchup just in case there is a Lantern in the backline. Aerial Ace comes through, it's not going to do that much damage, and I think I can Wing Attack them down before they get to a second one, which is great news for us. We only have to take a little bit of chip damage here. We're still outside of range where a Hydro Cannon from that Gator would knock us out. What is their backline going to be this game? It's going to be a Jellicent that comes in. Jellicent is not exactly what I was expecting here because that is actually so weak to a Lantern lead, but I guess some people are a little bit crazy in this meta. We go for the Ace and then swap out to our Quagsire. I feel like as long as I keep an energy lead on both my Quagsire and my Mantine, there's almost no play for that Feraligatr at this point. They do throw a move. I'm going to shield this up. It is a Shadow Ball that we get to shield. Fantastic news for us because that shield guarantees that our Quagsire is very healthy here. Hydro Cannon still is not going to knock us out at this point, and now Mud Bomb is chipping them into the range where the next one would actually KO them. I know they were dry before they swapped out from that opening matchup. So if I go for these mud bombs right before they get their move, they have to make a decision. Do they want to shield? They do shield. They have to start shielding something in this game, so that does make sense. We get yet another mud bomb through. We have energy on our Mantine, and at this point, I know they are at almost back-to-back moves with their Gator. So if they do throw their energy here, I want to shield this up, and I'm going to try to catch a move on my Mantine. I know they have the back-to-back Hydros. What are they going to try to do? We swap to Mantine. We go for the Ace. They don't end up letting me catch that move, unfortunately, but we did store a mud bomb at this point on our Quagsire, so maybe we can throw it against that Jellicent later on. They throw a move here. Is it an Ice Beam? Is it a Crunch? That is always the question with these Gators. In this meta, yeah, I think Crunch makes a lot of sense. I actually end up not tapping. I didn't want to have so much energy or so much health for this Jellicent to farm down. I wanted them to Shadow Claw me down, but unfortunately they had their Switch Clock up, so they do come in with their Jellicent anyway, but we still knock them out here with our Mantine, and now that Gator comes back in, we have the Mud Bomb loaded. We can knock them out here, throw the charge move, and guarantee the win against a terrible lead matchup. GG's to our opponent. Very fun team. Gator is not the most common Pokemon, but it gave me a lot of trouble. So yeah, even though this team is a little bit meta, it's not the spiciest team. Obviously, yesterday I was using Escavalier, I was using Lucario. I think this team is just so solid. It's a very fun team to use too, because Shadow Alolan Sandslash, it is a huge core breaker. Mantine pairs very well with it, and I think a lot of people today were really disrespecting Quagsire or ground types in general, so having Mud Bomb, Mud Shot, it really did help out today. Alright everyone, well thank you so much for watching today's video. I stream Pokemon Go PvP nearly every day at twitch.tv/ItsAXN, so if you want to see this kind of content live, make sure to check me out there. Also, I'm going to upload a lot more to the channel, so if you want to see more content like this, make sure to subscribe. Alright, well thank you again for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.